In 1971, Roger and Carolyn Perrin moved into a big old farmhouse in Harrisville, Rhode Island, with their 5 daughters, Andrea, Nancy, Christine, Cindy, and April. The house was over 200 years old, sitting quietly on the edge of the woods. It looked peaceful, surrounded by trees and open land. When they bought it, the man who sold the house told Roger something strange before leaving. He said, "For your family's sake, leave the lights on at night." Roger laughed, thinking it was just a joke, but soon they understood what he meant. At first, everything was normal. The family unpacked, fixed up the rooms, and started enjoying their new home. Then, little things began to happen. Carolyn's broom would go missing and show up standing in another room. She heard light knocks in the walls, always 3 times. Doors opened on their own. Cold spots appeared in warm rooms. The girls said they could hear whispers at night. Sometimes their beds shook slightly, as if someone was trying to wake them up. One night, Andrea, the oldest daughter, saw a woman standing near her bed. The woman wore a gray dress, her head hanging down so low that her face couldn't be seen. When Andrea blinked, the woman was gone. Days turned into weeks, and the strange events grew worse. The family began hearing footsteps in empty rooms and soft crying in the dark. One morning, little Cindy told her mother, "Mommy, the voices in my room told me 7 dead soldiers are buried in the wall." Carolyn didn't believe it at first, but soon, all the girls started hearing the same thing. Even the family dog acted scared. It barked at empty corners and refused to go inside the house. One morning, the dog was found dead near the barn. That's when Carolyn realized something evil was in their home. Trying to understand what was happening, Carolyn began asking neighbors about the history of the property. Everyone mentioned the same name, Bathsheba Sherman. Bathsheba had lived there during the 1800s. People said she was a witch who sacrificed her baby to the devil by stabbing it with a needle. She was never proven guilty, but the town believed she cursed the land before hanging herself from a tree behind the house. After learning about Bathsheba, strange things started happening to Carolyn. One day, she felt a sharp pain in her leg, as if she'd been stabbed by a needle. At night, she smelled something rotten and foul, and sometimes she saw a dark figure in her room. Then she saw Bathsheba. The ghostly woman had a twisted neck, burned gray skin, and hollow eyes filled with hate. Every time Carolyn saw her, she felt the same thought inside her head. She wants me gone. Soon, the haunting became violent. Doors slammed shut, crosses flipped upside down, and furniture moved by itself. The girls screamed as toys rolled across the floor on their own. One night, while folding clothes, Carolyn felt a presence behind her. She turned around and saw Bathsheba's ghost standing in the corner. Before she could move, the spirit threw her across the room. When Roger came home, he found Carolyn shaking and crying. "She's angry," Carolyn whispered. "She doesn't want us here." Desperate for help, the Perrin family contacted Ed and Lorraine Warren, the famous paranormal investigators. When they arrived, Lorraine said the house felt full of darkness. "It feels like death," she said. The Warrens decided to perform a seance to talk to the spirit. As they started praying, the air in the room turned icy cold. The candles flickered, and Carolyn began to change. Her voice turned deep and rough, nothing like her own. She screamed, "This is my house, get out!" Then the chair she was sitting in lifted into the air and threw her across the room. Roger ran to grab her while Lorraine continued praying. When it was over, Carolyn was weak and confused. She didn't remember anything. Lorraine told Roger, "It's not only the house that's haunted now, it's your family." The haunting didn't stop. One stormy night, the whole house began shaking. Doors banged shut, and the girls cried out in fear. Roger found Carolyn in the basement, speaking in another voice, her body moving in unnatural ways. Lorraine and Ed began shouting prayers as the wind roared through the house. Then, just as suddenly as it started, everything went silent. The cold air lifted, and the room became still again. Carolyn fainted in her husband's arms. After that night, the parents packed up and left the farmhouse for good. They never went back. Years later, Andrea Perrin, the eldest daughter, wrote books about what happened. She said the house was haunted long before her family arrived, that other families who had lived there had faced deaths, suicides, and even murders. The Warrens called it one of the most powerful demonic hauntings they had ever seen. Some people still think it was all in their imagination, but others believe the story completely. The real Conjuring house still stands in Harrisville, Rhode Island. The current owners allow ghost hunters to visit, and many people say they still feel the same dark energy. Visitors have reported strange whispers, cold chills, and shadows moving through rooms when no one is there. Even today, people believe Bathsheba's spirit still watches over the land, angry and trapped forever. So, if you ever drive through Rhode Island and see an old farmhouse at the end of a lonely road, don't go inside. Some spirits never rest, and some houses never forget.